Yeah, and don't be afraid because the complexities of what fire at the end, it's like 1 second you're in love, 1 second you want to be touched, next second you want to smack each other, the next second you're like enraged, the next second you're just feeling vulnerable, the next second you want to make up, like, you know what I mean? So don't be afraid to let those things leap with the listening, even if you're generating it a little bit. And I say that not because the work should be generated, but because I want to give you guys permission to take some risks and make some commitments. So that maybe you hear something new in a new way. Like even him, like when he starts talking about the fact that he's on a blind date, or when he talks about, the fact that you look beautiful, let that touch you, let that affect you. Because even the anger is always because we've already processed something. The bitterness is because our senses and, our thoughts have already gone through a processing mode. And so as actors, if we leap too quickly into the idea, we miss that truth of how we as human beings process moments. Does that make sense? Because we process things, it's sort of like the phone number in the jacket pocket. We process things so quickly based on the information that we have, especially the specificities of bonded relationship, right? That's why our closest relationships get us the most enraged or the most impassioned is, yes, it has to do with the bonding, but a lot of it just has to do with there's so much specificity at hand. Everything gets processed in a heartbeat. There's no, we don't take a week and a half of logically going through things before we have a response to something that our lover said. So I think as actors, sometimes we see that on the outside, and so we think, oh, I'm going to get bitter in this moment, and I'm going to get, I'm going to be bitter with him, and then I'm going to be cool in this moment. But in fact, even the bitterness comes from a deep, psychology, a deep, emotional experience, a physiology that's in its process. So it's kind of a trick on how to make sure we tap in from the truth instead of leaping from posture to posture.
I see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what Lindsay's saying is to masturbate before acting class.
Yes. Absolutely.
No.
I
So
should just write it on my hand.
No, it's not.
Okay, tell me a little bit. I guess you can do all of it, right? I'm like, press pause, but then I forgot that this is. Hi, Jason. So yeah, one quick thing. So tell me just really quickly who you are, where you are, and a little bit of what's going on. Okay, good. So this is good. So yeah, it's actually a pretty small shift, but it's going to carry this story in a different way. One thing is for you, Dennis. I still want to. I want it to be messier.
Okay.
And just uglier and messier.
All right.
Is this what you were after?
You betcha.
Yo, how about a coffee instead?
How about not? Okay? Look, you got one choice here, detective. Either you take me down to the station and just beat the crap out of me and believe me, or don't believe me. If you believe me, take me in and just beat the shit out of me. If you do believe me, get the fuck out of my face and go out there and find my wife who's been missing for 36 and a half hours now. That's your choice, detective. Make sure I don't close the door and search the room for nothing in particular. It's just bullshit. Either you think I had something to do with my wife's disappearance, or you don't. Come on, be a man. Spit it out. You think I what? Went and killed my wife and then went down to some plant somewhere and put a bomb in a fucking dumpster? Is that the scenario, detective?
And go back to that whole monologue. Dennis, just from the top, and just lose your shit in a big, stupid, messy way. Just lose it.
How about not? I think you got one choice here, detective. Either you believe me or you don't fucking believe me. If you don't believe me, take me down to the station and beat the fucking shit out of me. But if you do believe me, detective, go out there and find my wife who's been missing for 36 and a half fucking hours now. That's your choice. All this other shit about me going to the bathroom, keeping the fucking door open, searching the room for nothing in fucking particular is bullshit. Be a man, spit it out. You think what, detective, that I went
sure she'll be fine. Okay. I really hope. I hope we do. Plus, she was a nice person.
What are you talking?
Actually, met her last week. Oh, shit.
Maybe it's the moment when you're going to tell him the truth about what she's been up to. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, how about the Dennis?
That was good. Like I know that this would be fun to keep working on.
Yeah.
And just kind of thinking of, just thinking of I don't know. You know what? Not even thinking about ways to make it better. Just kind of like living it a little bit more. I like the helping me go for it a little bit. I felt like that worked a little bit better because everything started to make sense at that point for some reason. And I've done this before, but I haven't done it in a while. But I think what helped me best is, just to let him go and really make sense of what's happening. Because I'm thinking from my point of view, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything. But I did put the bomb in the dumpster, so I'm like, oh, this looks really fucking bad.
Yeah.
So I may have had a drink or two. I would like to bring like a cup or something next time, or a bottle. But I would like to improve on it.
Yeah, it's great. And like honestly, and you'll see it when you watch it. Like it just you can get even messier.
Yeah.
Even like physically, I would love for you to let loose and play.
Yeah.
Especially next time we meet, really let loose, let it get super messy, go balls out, getting messy, and then the second time we can take all that messiness and let it live in something simpler, but with the same resonance.
Yeah.
Because it's very funny. Like it just. Because you have that command, and you do have that natural, you do emanate star, because you have sort of that natural, leading man thing, and there are so many more stories to tell than that. And even leading men stories, even our heroes nowadays have a different texture to them than they have in the past. So I think really, so that this messiness is comfortable enough to go to that you can whip it out at any second. But you can go even way further in the messiness, totally blow it out, and then the second go, we'll take that insane messy blowout and just find a simpler structure for it, but without having to go back to the, I think composure of where you naturally go.
Yeah, I think that what I've learned about myself is that I need permission to go there. For some reason. I don't know why.
So just give yourself permission.
All right.
Or let the tape give you permission.
Okay. And then I need your help too.
Yeah. And I'll give you permission.
All right.
How was that, Daniel?
It was interesting. I'm still trying to. I feel like I'm in my head a lot. I feel like I'm trying to find the line between, showing what's going on with this guy and being here. Just being in the moment.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and actually, that's sort of, it's not my bag, but one thing that I discovered too is that, I was kind of throwing these scenarios at you to give you, to just give you some more specific stuff to work with. But honestly, I think that where it's at in an even bigger way for you is I want to keep getting you dropped into feeling. You know what I mean? Actually, once, because you were going for some interesting stuff and some new stuff was coming through, but even as it came through, I thought, you know what? It's not the specifics that need to take him there or the circumstances, which obviously they will, when we consider the circumstances and commit, but ultimately dropping into the feeling. Because you have such amazing, you're a very feeling man. You know what I mean? You're very observant and feeling, and you're very in touch with the world that's happening around you. But I think you do get caught up in in analyzing it, you know, in the moment. So yeah, so, you know, we can sort of take whatever we had circumstantially with this, but I don't even want to work with the circumstances necessarily next week. Mostly I just want to get you in here with all you're feeling. Don't even worry about a detective. I mean, I think my instinct to make you a first-time detective has a lot to do with giving you that permission. So that you don't have to be big tough detective holding his ground and saying all the right things, that he might scare you. And you might be afraid to do something wrong. And so it's not even so much about getting in your head about being a first-time detective as it is go to the feeling, go to the feeling, go to the feeling, go to the feeling, go to the feeling. Because even when you're exploring it, you know, it runs through your analytical mind, and so it comes out as behaviors, which can be helpful. Like, this stuff is helpful. But honestly, this stuff is helpful in a sense, in a sculptural way. So like, if I do this, it evokes a different emotional experience. So it's not necessarily about this, about using this as the story. It's that if I make this commitment, it's evoking something emotional. Because I think you then get caught up in the sculptural aspect of it, forgetting that the whole purpose of this or this or this is that it evokes an emotional experience. So all I want to focus on is being in the feeling next week, wherever that takes you. You know? Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And do that, play with that this week as well. Drop into feeling and see. You know, you may be surprised how uncomfortable it is, or how many mechanisms you have in place not to actually feel. You know, intelligent people in particular, we can trick ourselves out of experiencing a lot of our lives.
It's so funny because again, we're narrating my life right now. This is where I am in just an everyday sense. Because even just in my everyday life, for a long time I got to a point where, you know, I didn't let myself feel a lot of emotions. I suppressed a lot of things, and recently I realized that, and I realized that it's affected my acting. So I've been trying in my everyday life just to go back to letting myself feel. And
and the thing is we put those things in place because they serve us in that moment. Our folly is in identifying and attaching to them. You know, I was actually at a meditation workshop on Saturday, and one of the things that was so beautiful about the fellow sharing was, you know, he goes, I've come to have so much compassion for the boy that was just doing everything he could to take care of himself. You know, and it's sort of that. So even that, you can find the feeling even in the tactics that you have not to feel. Yeah,
I mean...
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no. I'm listening.
No, I was just saying that...
Or insecurity, it's, you know, or that stuff that we relate to and connect to, it comes from an idea, an identification with the sculptural aspect of it to create a picture of the story instead of actually revealing ourselves as the story. And so your work is, so again, that's a mechanism you can let go of, that thing of I don't want to overact. You can let go of that now because it doesn't serve you anymore.
Right, okay.
You know, because you're coming from an entirely different place.
Right, okay, I understand. So I've learned something today. It's like,
Yay! Okay, ladies, you ready?